YouTube. So every year I like to do a little end of year wrap up called A Year in 12, where I take everything I've written down on this little notes app throughout the year from each month, 1 or 2 things that have stuck out from the month, and talk about them in a YouTube video, kind of talking about my year, reflecting on everything that happened. So that is what today's video is going to be about. So I hope you all enjoy this, and let me know in the comments what made this year memorable for you. If you're new here, hello, my name is Tori Cyclic. I make new videos almost every Sunday for Cyclic Sunday, with sometimes other videos throughout the week. My posting schedule has been a little bit all over the place recently, but hoping to get back into more of a good set one soon. But if you're new here, hi. If you like what you see here, like this video and subscribe while you're down there as well. And you can also follow me on my other social media, which is TSS6295 on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, pretty much all over the internet. All right, let's get into this. January. For January, I have written down lots of clients for Leg, which is Let's Eat Grandma, which is the company that I work for. If I'm remembering correctly, which at the moment I feel like I'm not, I feel like January was just a very busy month for clients. I feel like I got into a really good groove of how I did my work for my clients and what kind of stuff I did with them, how I asked them questions and how I wrote their documents. Just felt like a really good and productive month with Let's Eat Grandma. It set me up really well for the year to be having a good starting year of the month, be really solid with all of my clients, having good interactions with all of them. Yeah, it was just overall a really good month with that. February. So what I have written down for February isn't a positive, but it is something that stuck out that definitely became prevalent throughout the entire year. So I have written down so much anxiety popping up for no reason and anger at myself for no reason and in really unhealthy ways. I don't remember exactly what triggered all of this, but I just remember being in like really not great mental spaces in the month of February and just having a lot of anxiety and like chest pain from being very anxious from things and just stressing for no reason over everything. I feel like I was just kind of being like, okay, we're almost at a year of the pandemic, and just feeling like life wasn't moving anywhere. Nothing was happening theater-wise, and just like, I felt like life was kind of stuck. So I felt like I got very anxious about that kind of thing. And just angry at myself for not being productive as much as I could have been. I feel like that was just, yeah, February was kind of a hard month. But having that like bit of badness at the beginning of the year, I think was good for me to kind of recalibrate and refocus things for the new year and be like, all right, what am I gonna do to try to fix that? How am I gonna handle that? March. So for March, I have 2 things written down, which is 1, getting back into background work, and 2, 1 year of the pandemic. So I'll start with the 1 year of the pandemic. That was definitely a bit weird when that popped up and came around, because I was like, oh wow, we've been stuck inside our houses for a year and I haven't had the opportunity to audition for things in the year. And it's just been a lot of things not happening for a year. So maybe just really think a lot about what I'd done since the pandemic happened to try and like take care of myself. There are definitely not a lot of things that I think were very good for me that I did, including not working at a restaurant job anymore, taking more time to focus on myself and what my personal needs were, taking personal days when I needed them, and like lying in bed and just relaxing on days when I really needed them, as well as working really hard when I wanted to and felt like it would be very fulfilling for me. And I feel like that was a really good way to kind of, again, kind of recalibrate things from the anxiety and stress that I was feeling from the month of February going into this like 1 year of the pandemic. It was really great to get back into background work in March of this year, because it was like finally something's happening with my industry. I'm able to like work and have something to do outside of the apartment that's related to my industry, because auditions were still not happening at that point. It was like rare 1 or 2 self-tapes, but at that point I was like, oh my god, TV and film is coming back. I can get back into this the way that I wanted to for such a long time. I hadn't done background work since I think November 2019, and during that time of November 2019 to like March 12th 2020, when the pandemic started, I was like hardcore auditioning so much for things. It was like the height of audition season. I was in final callbacks for a lot of things. I was traveling for auditions. I was really focused on career stuff and trying to book a job for the summer of 2020, which didn't happen, but I was like in audition mode. So I was like, I can't think of anything else except for auditions, classes, going to work, doing the same thing. I can't have anything extra going on in my life. So when background work started popping up again, I was like, oh, okay, background work is happening. This is something that I've been wanting to get back into for a while, to do TV and film stuff and explore that a little bit more. Okay, now we have nothing else going on in our lives. Why not just do it? So March was like a really big month of background work. I did my first bunch of SAG jobs, which is great. I'd done 1 SAG job in November 2019, which like set me up for understanding what SAG jobs are like. But I think all of my jobs that I worked in March were under a SAG contract, which were really nice. And just getting to feel like I was a working background actor, it was just like, it was really good. And it felt like really productive for what I wanted to be focusing on at that point, and really also showed me how much interest I do have in working in TV and film, and kind of refocusing things in that kind of direction too. I just really had a great time doing background work in March. April. So for April, I have the most important thing that happened of this year, which was getting the COVID vaccine. So I was really gung-ho about getting the COVID vaccine. I just wanted it so I could be protected and just safe, especially because I was going back into background work, being around not that many people, but like enough people. I didn't know anybody on set. So it was just like, okay, I don't know if these people have been exposed to anything. I don't know if I've been exposed to anything and have no idea. So I was just wanted to get the vaccine. I got my first dose on the 8th of April and then my second dose on the 29th of April. And I just remember when I got it, I was just like, oh, finally, it feels like things are starting to go back to normal. This is great. So it just like felt like a lot of progress out of the pandemic and sort of a start for things to try to go back to normal. It just made it feel like there was a light at the end of the tunnel of the pandemic. Obviously there's not that because things keep changing every single day. But for that bit of time, it was like, oh my God, something's happening progress-wise with the pandemic. We have a vaccine. Great. May. So for May, I have two things written down, which are my sister Morgan's virtual 30th birthday and playing lots of Valheim with Sean. So my sister's 30th birthday was May 9th. I actually have a vlog, I think, where I talked about doing this virtual birthday party. I know me and my other sister Alexis, if the pandemic wasn't happening, we probably would have planned a trip out to Denver to surprise my sister for her 30th birthday and like do something really fun with her. I also haven't been out to visit her in a very, very long time. So it would have been nice to go and travel and visit her. But we decided we wanted to plan this virtual birthday over Zoom where we like played some games and showed some pictures and talked and everything. It was really nice. My sister was so surprised. She had literally no idea. Morgan had such a great time with it. And it was just like a really nice way to celebrate her birthday because it was also a milestone one being 30. And we were so bummed that we couldn't do something like really special because of the pandemic. But the fact we were able to do something was really great. And then playing lots of Valheim with Sean, that's something that's kind of been a prevalent thing throughout the entire year. But specifically in May, me and Sean were really getting into playing Valheim. As I say that, we've also been getting really back into playing it now. But it's such a fun game and I feel like it's just so relaxing and easy and we just have a lot of fun playing it. So yeah, May was a good month for Valheim for me and Sean. June. So for June, I have two things written down, which are a random girl thinking I was Rachel Brosnahan while I was working on set on Mrs. Maisel and the Pokemon Go commercial that I shot. So I'll start with this first one. I actually got to work on 4 separate scenes for this upcoming season 4 of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I'm very excited about. Don't know how much I'm going to be seen in it, but I'm just excited to see it and see if I can see myself. But this one in June in particular was very funny and very kind of special in that kind of way because of this situation that happened. I think this was the last few weeks of shooting and it was also the first episode that Milo Ventimiglia was shooting. So literally we did like our first few scenes of the day and then the news broke that he was in it. And so that'll be exciting to watch it when the show happens and see the scenes that I was working on, that he was there for his first day on set. But this in particular, we were filming in Central Park and it was me and this guy that I was partnered with. We were like a couple walking down the street. And then we're standing there with our masks on and everything, just kind of talking while they were setting up the shot. And then like they were telling us when we were gonna shoot, I hear like out of the corner of my ear, some girl screaming, Rachel, 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 oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, I'm from this place. I think is where Rachel Brosnahan's from. I can't remember at the moment. And I like hear it and I like kind of was like, I'm just gonna ignore it because I don't really know what it is. But this girl was insistent, like screaming at me and this guy being like, Rachel, I love you, oh my God. And then we like turned to, we're like, oh no, we're background, we're extras, we're not her. And she was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I was like, no, you're totally fine. This is making my day. This is hilarious. And I thought it was so funny. Thinking back on it, it is actually very, very hilarious because I get told all the time I look like Rachel Brosnahan, but like to have it happen in action while I was working on the show just felt very serendipitous. I just thought it was very, very funny. And then the second part of June that made it a pretty cool month was working on a Pokemon Go commercial. So for this, it was a kind of crazy story. I don't know if I ever actually really talked about the story behind this. I submitted for the casting call that I saw on Casting Networks just with like their information. They were like, we're looking for real Pokemon Go players in New York. I'm like, I'm a Pokemon Go player in New York, so might as well apply. Put in all my information and then heard from them, I think like the next day. They were like, great, we're gonna set up an interview with you because all your materials look good and you look like you might be a right fit, so we'll set up an interview with you. So I did an interview with them and it was with a casting director, a couple other people who were on this first call asking me like questions about my experience playing Pokemon Go. And I was like, oh yeah, I've been playing the game since it came out when I was in college. And I've been really enjoying playing it in New York since I've been living here. And just kind of talking about my experience like with vlogging and being an actor and that kind of thing. They were like, great, okay, cool. We'll let you know if we wanted you to come in for the second round of this with the actual director and with executives from Niantic, which is the company that owns Pokemon Go. I was like, okay, cool, sure. Then I like waited a little bit and then I got an email that was like, great, you're in the second round for this, we're actually considering you for the lead role in this commercial, along with considering you for the background in this. I was like, oh, that's cool. Because originally I just submitted to the call not really knowing what it would be. And then they were like, great, we're considering you for both of these different things. I was like, okay, cool. So then I did the second call with them, kind of had similar talking points from the first one, talked a little bit more in detail about different things with Pokemon Go and my play style, and like if I'm more of a raider in the game or like if I catch more, that kind of thing. If you play Pokemon Go, you know this, what the game is like. And then I was like, okay, great, thank you so much. Finished the call. Didn't hear anything for a little bit. It took them a while to get back to me, but when they did, they were like, sorry, just looks like it's not going to be a right fit. And I was like, okay, that's totally fine. Like I was a bit bummed because it was good money, but I was just like, oh, okay, that's all right. You know what? Maybe they're looking for more like real people and not like actors. So then the day before the shoot rolls around, I'm working on a different background job completely, and I get an email while I'm sitting and holding, and they say, hey, so somebody has dropped out and we would like to ask you if you are available for tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, I am available for tomorrow. I would love to do this. So after that, I like had to figure out getting a COVID test and making sure I was all set so I could work on this shoot. And then I ended up taking a while for them to like figure out everything, to send me all the contracts and things like that. So it was a little bit hectic going into it, but then like the day of the shoot happened, it was like the lead girl and then me and one other girl as like her background featured friends. And we got to just walk around downtown New York and Manhattan, eating ice cream and playing Pokemon Go. And then like the commercial came out and it was like really, felt like I was really well featured in it, even though I wasn't like the lead of it, and I like had really good shots in it. It was just like a really fun shoot, a really fun chilled afternoon playing Pokemon Go and eating ice cream down in Manhattan. It was also cool because I was like, oh wow, I just got a featured role in a commercial. Great. This is a bigger part in a commercial, a bigger part in TV and film. Something I'm interested in moving into is a bigger role in TV and film, and I got it on a non-union commercial. July. So for July, I have written down being told I look like Loki on TikTok on my Bella's regional video. So July was a pretty fantastic month on TikTok. I had my first video reach over 1 million views, which was in my Pitch Perfect series. And yeah, this was just a really fun month on TikTok, but in particular, in this one specific video of me doing the I Saw the Sign dance from Pitch Perfect, the amount of comments that I got on this video telling me I looked like Loki was crazy, but it was also because I think the Loki series on Disney Plus had come out around the same time or a similar time that everybody just kind of had that thought in their mind. But I do get it. I wasn't wearing makeup in the video and my hair was kind of like this, a little bit like straighter at one point because I'd been dancing. I do see it for sure that when I'm not wearing makeup, I definitely see the connection because of like the hair length and everything. But it just made me laugh, the amount of comments I got, first in English, then I think in Brazilian Spanish, and then in French in particular, that my video went to a viral in different places and got comments from all over the world telling me that I looked like Loki. August. So for August, I have written down my birthday weekend. My birthday weekend for this year was very interesting because I ended up getting scheduled on an overnight background shoot the day before my birthday. The day before. No, I was working the Friday into the Saturday. So the 13th into the 14th, I was working on an overnight background shoot that ended up having a zombie attack in it. That show comes out in January, so be on the lookout for that. But it ended up being a very interesting one because I'd, one, never dealt with fake blood on set before, but two, a zombie attack was very fun to be a part of at 5 in the morning, the day before my birthday. So that was just a fun way to kick off that weekend. So on that Saturday, after I'd had that crazy day of background work, that evening, Sean and I went out to dinner at this place called Mifune, where we had a sushi Japanese dinner that was a tasting menu. It was all really interesting dishes, like very, very fancy food. That ended up being really, really good. We just didn't really know what to expect with it, and all of it was very delicious and like a fun experience to be out at a restaurant because we hadn't really been going out to restaurants that much because of the pandemic, but it was a nice way to celebrate my birthday too, have a nice little cocktail with these fancy Japanese food dishes. It was really, really fun. And then on my actual birthday, I ended up doing a dance class via Zoom, which was really, really fun. And then we did a little birthday picnic with my parents and Alexis and Sean. My mom cooked everything and we had a little picnic up near Alexis's apartment in Manhattan. It was really fun. It was just good to see my parents, one, for the first time, like since the pandemic, and like actually sit down and talk with them. Like I'd seen them like over Zoom and everything, and like if they dropped something off like in the car, but it was the first time, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that I'd like sat down and had a conversation in person with my parents since the pandemic, which was really nice. Then just having a good afternoon, having food, driving around. It was just like a fun, chill birthday. September. So for September, I have written down going back to Utah for Sean's grandma's birthday and family reunion and seeing my friends. So this trip back to Utah was a long one in the making. We hadn't been back to Utah since Christmas of 2019, so 2 years ago now, but at that point, a year and a half. I hadn't seen any of my friends really since then who were still living in Utah, as well as Sean's family too. His family had been planning this 80th birthday celebration for his grandma that was supposed to happen in 2020. Obviously didn't happen because of the pandemic. So when we were finally like, okay, everybody is vaccinated, everybody can travel, everybody is testing negative, great, we're setting up this trip. So we ended up going to Utah for a week. The first half of the trip, we were with Sean's family at this house that they had rented. It was so good just to spend time with his family and hang out with them. I love them a lot. So it was good to like see everybody as well as people I hadn't seen in years. So it was really, really great to just kind of have that fun experience with all of them and like enjoy some of the family traditions and that type of thing. And then the second half of the trip, Sean was working. So that was when I like saw my friends. I saw Denny, my old teacher from the U. I saw my friend Rachel, my friend Amber. I had to film a self-tape while I was there in a hotel. So that was a fun experience doing that for the first time. But yeah, it was just a good trip. It was good to get away from New York for a little bit, as well as to get away from work. I made sure that I had nothing to do for clients or anything like that. The self-tape just happened to pop up while we were on the trip, and I'm like, I can film this while we're here, so I might as well. But yeah, it was good just to like get away from New York for a little bit and relax back in Utah and have a nice chill trip. October. So for October, I have two things written down, which is playing tons and tons of Valheim on my own and self-taping for production of Little Women. So once again, with gaming and everything like that, Valheim has been like the constant throughout this entire year, but throughout the month of October, I ended up playing a game on my own. Usually I prefer playing this game with Sean because it's a lot more fun to play alongside somebody, but I was like, I'll play on my own, kind of build my own world. In October, I had a lot of fun with that. Definitely hit a point where I was like, I don't want to play on my own anymore. So me and Sean started playing another game together. But when I was playing on my own, I had a lot of good fun with it. I felt like I got a lot better at like shooting bows and arrows and like defending myself and being creative with how I built my houses and things like that. It was good for me to like play it on my own and find my creativity with it. And then for these self-tapes that I had to film in October, I had just submitted via Actors Access, sending my like reels that I have posted on there for a couple of the roles in the show, not expecting anything, being like, okay, maybe I know I fit the voice part, I can sing the songs that these characters play, but not expecting anything because I'm equity membership candidate, non-union, and they were looking for equity actors. But then I got an email from Actors Access being like, you have a message from this casting company for this theater. They want you to self-tape for the roles of Jo March and Beth March in Little Women. And I was like, what? Because one, I didn't expect to get self-tapes for these roles, but two, they are the biggest roles I've ever had to self-tape for. So I was like, oh my God, that's gonna be very stressful. Because usually when I'm sending in self-tapes, it's for a general like ensemble, or sometimes it's if a specific role has been reached out to me for, like it's usually a bit smaller than that. Jo March is like a lead role, a leading lady. She sings astonishing in the show. With Sutton Foster's role, like that's something that I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. But when I did these self-tapes, it made me feel like a lot more confident in myself. I was also like, wow, these people from this theater liked what I sent in my reels enough that they wanted to see me tape for this, even though I'm non-equity. That's a real nice vote of confidence for me. And within this audition season, with self-tapes being the only thing that we're doing and not getting a lot of views on them and all that kind of stuff. So it's really good for me confidence-wise to be like, wow, somebody saw my reels, wanted to see me film for these two huge roles, and yeah. And I filmed the self-tapes. Obviously didn't book the jobs. I wasn't expecting to anyway. I just went in with it being like, you know what? They wanted to see me film for it, so that's good enough for me. And if I get the role, great. If I don't, great as well. At least it was an opportunity to stretch my muscles a bit more. I had to film a bunch of scenes, a bunch of songs for it, and it was really good just to work on like a self-taping muscle and an auditioning muscle, and I was very proud of myself for it. It was, yeah, really hard, but really, really worth it. Oh God, I have to go change my battery. Okay, put in a new battery, and I have like 5 more minutes till sundown, so good lighting here. November. So for November, I have written down a crazy first weekend of background work. For the first 5 days of November, I was working on background work. I was working on a second day of one job that I had done a week before in October, and it was the second day, it was like Halloween and going into November 1st. And then after that, I was working on another shoot, which was 2 days of working on this movie that I was shooting in New Jersey, which I'm very excited to see when it comes out. Both of these products I'm very excited to see when they come out, but it was just a very, very crazy weekend. I got to have some interaction with the main actor, which was very, very cool. So it was very fun getting to work on those projects. And yeah, it was just a cool weekend. December. So for December, it's something that was kind of at the end of November, but going into December is adopting our second cat, Mushroom. Let me go find her. See if I can bring her in here for a second. So this is our second cat, Mushroom. Say hi, sweet girl. She doesn't like this at all, being held like this, but there she goes. You gonna stay in here? Okay, she's gonna stay in here with me. Let me get a better shot of her right here. There's Mushroom. So we adopted Mushroom around Thanksgiving. We wanted to get another cat because Sean actually saw a stray cat on the street and was like, I want to save all the kitties. And then we decided to go to a Best Friends and a couple cat cafes and see if they had any cats that were available. So we went to some cat cafes and had some really great interactions with a couple cats, but they ended up being bonded pairs. So we went to Best Friends, and the first weekend we went, they had a couple different cats that we had like pretty good interactions with, and we were like, oh, okay, maybe we'll look into adopting one of these. We'll like take a second and like think about it. We called them back the next week and they were like, yeah, these are not available anymore. So we're like, okay, we'll come back another time and see if there's another cat that kind of fits what we are looking for, because we wanted to get another cat that would kind of vibe with Carbon, because we adopted Carbon from his previous owners because there were issues with him with another cat. So you're kind of like, well, we just want to see if another cat will work well with him. If not, we'll just have Carbon and it'll be okay. But then we met Mushroom, and she is very, very sweet, very, very adorable. She is just under 4 years old. She's very, very cute, very, very sweet, very, very snuggly. And at first we were like, this is just gonna be a trial period to see how her and Carbon get along. We tried doing the separating them, and they kind of started like hissing at each other and fighting with each other. But recently they've just gotten along so well. Like there's still little bits of fighting and playing and things like that, but it's not as bad as it used to be. But now she's with us. Look at her little tail going by over there. So yeah, we're really excited to have her around. Her and Carbon get along pretty well now, which is good. They play a lot together. The thing that I love about Mushroom, besides her being like adorable and snuggly, is the fact that she's gotten Carbon to play a lot more, because for a while it was like, we have this box of toys with Carbon and he doesn't really play with them at all. And he used to when we first got him. We were like, oh, maybe because he's getting older, that he's getting more tired. But then when we got Mushroom here, and we've got some toys for her, like he starts playing with her and playing with the balls that we throw around and the laser and things. So it's just been nice to like see him become more playful as a cat as well. And then just having this fun little cute feline energy in the apartment. And she also has been like snuggling with us every night, sleeping in the bed with us and snuggling with us when we watch TV and jumping in our laps and things. So she's just very, very cute. So I'm excited to see like how everything goes with like growing with her and growing our like connection with her and Carbon together. And hopefully they'll get even more snuggly together and more comfortable around each other. But yeah, it's been nice having a second cat around. They're both so adorable, and I just love them both. So that's been a really nice thing of the end of the year, adding a new member to the family here. So I think that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed my year in 12, getting to hear about what made this year memorable for me. If there's anything that made this year memorable for you, let me know in the comments down below. I'll be having my New Year's resolutions video posted next week, which is in 2022. Oh my God, that is insane. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a happy holiday season and a happy new year. DFTBA, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.